Hello.
Hello.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Want a ragtime gal?
Sometimes all you need in this world is a ragtime gal. I don't want to talk about Griffin Lena. This is episode 286 of Insert Credit, a weekly talk show where the panelists are video game experts and the buzzer is horrible. I'm Alex Jaffe, and in a large, generic fighting game roster, I'm choosing the guy who randomly copies a different fighter's moveset every match.
I'm Frank Cifaldi, and in a large, whatever fighting game roster, the thing that Jaffe said, I usually go for the lady that looks like she's going to bounce around like Chun-Li.
Nice.
I like bouncing around until I figure out how to actually play the game. I like being a pest. I like being like a fly.
A real John Leguizamo.
When you say bounce around, you just mean like moving fast?
Moving fast and like hopefully bouncing off the edge of the screen like she does. Sometimes people copy that.
Got it.
Interesting.
Is it though?
It's interesting enough for this part of the show.
Why not, mate? I'm Tim Rogers, and in a large fighting game with a large roster full of lots of generic characters, I choose as a guy in a leather jacket and sunglasses. Why not? Give me a guy with a leather. That's what I want to be someday.
You're going to be K-Prime?
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
Kind of a cocky taunt move.
Yeah, basically, I was trying to think of Terry Bogard in Mark of the Wolves, since he's wearing a leather jacket and jeans, which is just like a classic outfit.
No sunglasses, though.
A normal, yeah, there's no sunglasses, yeah. So Terry Bogard with sunglasses, give him a pair of good ones.
That's how you improve on perfection.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could probably use them. Well, I'm Brandon Sheffield, and if I were a fighting game character, it's always hard to repeat the
You're
the full
choosing a
question.
fighting game character from a large generic roster.
If I were them, I would be whoever's got a Shoryuken. No, that's not true. It's kind of true, but it's not necessarily true. I would probably go for like this is a rarity, but it's a large group, so it's possible. A speedy grappling character. Because there's a lot of grapplers that are big and slow and ponderous, but I like your speedy grapplers like Ryuko from Asuka 120%, or Blue Mary is kind of has that vibe. So those kinds of that's what I would do. I would do one of those kinds of people, and also I'd like a Shoryuken, please, thank you.
Why not? If we can give Terry Bogard sunglasses, we can give a small grappler a Shoryuken.
Yeah, I need a Shoryuken.
Our guest this week is host and producer of Kinda Funny Games, Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Hello, I'm Blessing Adeoye Jr., and in a large fighting game roster that is generic, I'm choosing a character that has pretty long range that is also annoying to fight against. I'm thinking of Ranmathal Valentine in Guilty Gear Strive, or maybe an Eddie in Tekken, or maybe even from Mortal Kombat 10. I forget his name, but he was Scorpion's apprentice character, but I've totally forgotten his name.
Blorpion.
What was that?
Sorry, I said Blorpion. That's definitely not his name.
Blorpion. Oh, no, Blorpion is actually exactly right. That's exactly the character.
Good.
No, I think it's Takeda Takahashi is the character I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Blorpion. That's what it sounds like in Mortal Kombat.
Blorpion?
Blorpion.
Blorpion.
Mortal Kombat rules.
Yeah, have we talked about that game on this show?
Mortal Kombat?
Yeah, they look so real.
It's got blood
The
in it.
graphics are insane for Mortal Kombat.
Those newer Mortal Kombats are good, man.
They are.
I played it and they seem to sweat a lot more than I'm used to characters sweating.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that a joke, or
That's
did
a
I
Super
miss
Nintendo
it?
joke.
You know,
I made, yeah.
that didn't affect me because
Yeah.
I played quite a bit of Fight Night Round 3 on PS2, and that game has the most sweat out of any video game I think I've ever played.
Oh.
With every punch, it's just buckets of water that are flying
Yeah.
off of these characters, and so nothing phases me ever since then.
Those dudes sweat for real. You know,
Bunch of tough sponges.
I mean, it's possible to sweat in real life as well, and then realize I've never really seen this realistically represented anywhere in TV and movies, in video games. When you run a marathon, or at least when I run a marathon, I just got soaked with so much sweat, and around mile 22 or so, the sweat starts to just smell like dog food.
I don't like that.
And it's just this horrible, disgusting, visceral, like, body experience. And it's like, you never see this anymore. You know, you can watch sports all the time and never really grasp how gross sweat is. So good on EA.
And that's why we need smell-o-vision.
I think if any company is the one to get there first for representing that aspect of sweat, I think it might be PlayStation, because there's been a lot of patents in the last few years of
Oh yeah.
PlayStation controllers reading players like sweat secretion or excretion on the controller. And also you have like the DualSense and the Sense controllers. Like they're getting there in terms of wanting to analyze all 5 senses that human beings can produce.
It would go from 0 to just implemented like 100%. Like if it detects a tiny bit of sweat, your character is just like blasted, soaked in sweat. Just so they can demonstrate that it works correctly.
Yeah.
Everything is multiplied by 10 in video games versus reality. I think everybody knows this, though.
That scene in the Last of Us remake on PC, where if you all saw this, where it was indoors, but it wasn't raining, but the characters were just getting wetter and wetter as the conversation was going on.
It's so funny when video games mess up stuff.
I know you don't like talking about that, but it is very illustrative of this moment, because if people were just like
getting drenched,
like someone gets a little nervous watching this cutscene because oh no, they're having a tense conversation, and then it just drenches the characters, and it's pretty good.
This phenomenon is kind of like when I eat a cherry in real life and I only get 10 points as opposed to the 100.
Oh yeah. They multiply it by 10.
I guess it's like that.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right, so that does it for my first question. What's the sweatiest video game? We've resolved that. I'd like to talk about video game reviews, because we happen to have somebody who reviews video games on our show for once. What do people expect from a review of a new game?
They expect you to be a paid shill, I suppose, is the thing.
That's these days,
or at
yes.
least this is how it used to be before a couple months ago. Minutes after you write the review, you have like 24 DMs from strangers. Your DMs are open so you can complain to brands and get apologized to. Number one, that's how all video game reviewers are. Keep the DMs open so the brands can apologize. When you're not seated expeditiously on Delta Airlines, you basically what happens is you get like 24 DMs from people telling you that you paid $15,000 for your Twitter verified checkmark and that you're a paid shill. Is what happens. That's what is expected of a video game review. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think you got to tell people what for is the graphics. Are those good? You got to say how is the sound. You got to rate that out of 10.
Well, in all seriousness, these days, if you don't talk about all the bugs and all the glitches in your review, you are widely and roundly shouted down by viewers and readers for being some kind of a paid shill. Like,
well, I mean,
I see this all over the internet now, and it's very weird. So
well, I believe, Jeff, you tell me, but I believe this is the debate that maybe has spawned this conversation. Is
it?
I don't know. Like I've seen some of that discourse on what's left of Twitter about this, and
the new Star Wars game and the Redfall game, I believe, are the two ones right now that are the new Star Wars Jedi Survivor has a whole bunch of kind of inexcusable performance problems, and this game Redfall is 30 FPS LMAO in 2023.
Wait, really? I'm playing the original Dead Rising at 120. So.
Incredible.
But the reviews that filter through to me are pretty much nothing to do with that. It's all like an interesting take, like here's how this game strikes me as a person from this background, or like those are the ones that kind of get through to my timeline. I don't really see all that.
Well, because it's not a review of a car, right?
Yeah,
it's a review of whether one might be entertained, and I think. I mean, my perspective, and I do want to kick this over to the guest as soon as we can, is that you can write a positive review of a clunky game if you had a good time with it. And this is not a secret. This isn't new. I wrote one in like 2011. So for me, it comes down to some people just want a lot of order in the world, and some people want to be interesting. Right?
Yeah. I think that's the tough thing when it comes to video games, is that video games is a crossover between a lot of different elements. You know, like it's a creative medium. You know, you're going in, you're storytelling, you're doing game design, which is creative. You have the art there, which is also creative. It's also a piece of technology, and it's a piece of software. And so there's an expectation that it runs well. There's an expectation that it doesn't fall apart, right? And then like you have so many other elements that you can judge in individual ways. And I think the nail was hit on the head in terms of different different games or even the same game can speak to different people in different ways. Like when we did our review of Star Wars Jedi Survivor here, I'm only halfway through the game, and so I didn't give a final review, but for where I made it to, I gave it like a tentative 3 out of 5 for what my experience has been, which has been not great on the technical side, right? And even on like the game design side, there are critiques that I have with it there. But yeah, I think the combination of the tech stuff, the frames dropping, the bugs that I experienced, plus a game that I enjoyed quite a bit in terms of what the actual content of it is there, but also like I wouldn't consider it the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? For me, that fell down on that's for me a 3 out of 5. Whereas I look at Pokemon Scarlet, and that's one of my favorite Pokemon games, but that game ran like garbage on the Switch, and
it sure did.
The experience I had with the content for me outweighed the experience I had with the way it ran and the bugs, and so I landed around like a 4 out of 5 for that, and a lot of people disagree, and I think there's this interesting expectation of people reviewing games like robots and like a checklist, when I don't think that is the purpose of a lot of reviews. You want to look at who the reviewer is. You want to look at what their tastes are and like where they're coming from and how, and like what they say in terms of what they're looking for in their games. Like that's why I appreciate a lot of different reviewers from different outlets and YouTube being a thing, because people are a lot more able to be like, hey, I'm reviewing this game from the perspective of a parent with a child, or I'm reviewing this game from the perspective of watching it being played by my partner, or I'm reviewing this game from somebody who likes combat.
I'm reviewing this game as a guy in a bathtub.
Exactly. Like you can, right? Your gimmick can be anything, right? And as long as you're honest about it, that's a legitimate review. And I think there's a disconnect with a lot of people in terms of reviewers aren't robots necessarily. And so that's one thing. And then the other thing I think people expect is for your review to agree with everybody else's review, right? If the Metacritic is a 70, that means that everybody should review this as a 7 out of 10. And if you think that game is a 9 out of 10 and it's a 70
you're
on
Metacritic,
shill. You're a shill and you are wrong, when really the reality of it is that reviews are opinions. It all comes down to what a person, somebody's personal thoughts are about this game that they just played.
Yeah, I took a long time reviewing a review, or reviewing my own review about this Cyberpunk 2077 game. I spent a long portion of my review talking about how all of the bugs and glitches and such that I encountered while playing the game likely won't exist when the majority of people who watch this video watch the video, and as it accumulates more views as time goes on, that becomes more and more true. But I still keep getting comments that are like, why didn't you talk about the fact that this patch came out yesterday? And it's like, look at the timestamp. First of all,
that's the other thing too, especially when talking about the current situation of Jedi reviews and Redfall reviews. As somebody who was playing Jedi Survivor during the review period, you have that thought as a reviewer of, this review is going to be irrelevant in a month from now if I talk all about the bugs throughout this whole review. And it's that weird balance of, I reviewed Cyberpunk 2077 for Kind of Funny, and I enjoyed the heck out of the content in that game, and I was able to see the bugs and see the lack of polish there, even on the PC version. And in the embargo notes, they mentioned that, hey, there's a gigantic day one patch. And so for my review,
you just know it's coming,
yeah, you just know it's coming. And it's like, my review is going to come out on embargo day, right? And like, you have this big patch. Like, what is the balance here? And for me, I just had to double down and go, all right, like, these bugs exist. I'm going to acknowledge that. I'm going to warn the audience, and then I'm going to talk about the actual content of the game. But there's no perfect way to handle it.
Yeah, the day one patch situation. Like, I had to review Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And I had to play it in English, right? Because they were releasing the Japanese voices as a day one free DLC. And it was very hard to not joke way too much about the English voices in my video that I ended up making. So day one patches, man, you gotta love it.
Yeah, it's a hard one, because like, reviewing with bugs in mind, it's like, how much of the experience of playing the game is that going to be for a player? And
especially as they get gotten rid of, right?
Especially as they get gotten rid of.
Like, no, do we think about the bugs in Fallout New Vegas when Fallout New Vegas comes up, or do we think about how good the writing and in being in that world is.
I think
Right.
of how I had to spend several days recently getting it, watching YouTube videos to figure out which mods to
man.
install to
Yeah.
get myself the definitive version of the game. So I have
the
two more.
definitive version will not run.
Yeah,
is my
it's
experience.
it's quite difficult even on a 4090, right? So it's like okay, wait. Okay, so I had two little quips here to make. So Blessing, when you give Star Wars Jedi Survivor a 3 out of 5, how many commenters reply, so it's 6 out of 10 then? Like how many of those do you get regularly?
Oh, dude, I do not look at the comments. Especially on reviews. I'm
Nice.
like, I'm not even gonna.
You
go
got
in
to
there.
sometimes though. It's see, this is a fun thing to think about though, isn't it? It's like how many people are out there just multiplying the score by 2.
Oh man. Well, it's the
Right?
thing. Like,
Like,
because I actually don't. I don't like review scores that much.
I
Like,
hate scores. I hate the idea of a score.
I hate them, and
I
I do
hate
it
it.
because our it's like it's a service to our audience, right? Like the
Mhm.
consensus is, and like of course people are going to disagree one way or another, but review scores helps to promote our content and it helps boil down what we do, and like a lot of people I think prefer review score or
Yeah, they do. They
prefer
do.
review scores. I personally like just talking about things with words, right? Like when I
Yeah,
use
yeah.
a number to boil down that idea, it's like cool. You guys are going to miss out on all the things that I'm actually saying about it. But yeah, I do the same
Yeah,
thing.
The best video game review score is talk to a person who played the game.
Yeah.
That you know and that you like sort of the same stuff.
But weirdly enough, like I've given games a 3 out of 5 that I would give a 7 out of 10 if I was on a 10-point scale, and it's so arbitrary, right? Like
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense. But I think there's this way you convey a thing, right? Where it's if I was to do the math on, all right, 7 out of 10, all right, I guess technically that'd be a 4 out of 5, but that doesn't convey how much of a 7 I think this thing is. It's so
Mhm.
weird. It's so weird.
Yeah.
All right, we're way over time.
In summary, 10-point scale's better. Is that what
Yeah.
we're saying?
Yeah. No, we should do.
Give me a 100-point
No, we
scale.
should do the letter grades like they did at 1UP that just confused Metacritic and made
absolutely.
things terrible.
I think you should do the little faces from GamePro.
Yeah.
Mhm. I have the EPS files of those. We can print billboard size GamePro heads if we need to.
And why wouldn't we?
Why
GamePro
wouldn't we?
sleeping face thumbs up. Sleeping 0.5. If you're reviewing a video game and it's like your job to review a video game, and then you get comments like people yelling at you being like, I kept getting crashes. The game kept crashing for me. And you're like, yeah, me too. But I just kept restarting it and playing it because it's my job to play the game, right? Little things like that where it's like, yeah, there's bugs all over some of these modern games when they come out, which is why I've kind of decided to only review games that are like 20 or 30 years
Smart.
old.
Yeah, that's kind of why I wanted to talk about what it's like to review more modern games. And I think we got there. Here's my next question. Conversation about level design tends to begin with Super Mario Brothers and end with Doom. Who
Okay.
have been the best level designers since then?
Oh,
I love
Hmm.
this question.
there aren't really too many rock star video game level designers right now, but I mean there's plenty of level design as an art form has really become much more sublime over the past
Yeah.
the past 15 years or so. I believe Gears of War 1 and
Mhm.
Gears of War 2 and also Gears of War 3. Okay, the first 3 Gears of War games all have very, very, very good level design, right? The level design that I always talk about is at the end of chapter 4 of Gears of War, where you climb up a staircase to get into your father's home or whatever, and you go into the basement lab, and you're down in there, and while you're down in the basement, like enemies start coming up the hill, so you got to go upstairs and fight guys. And because Gears of War is set in a fantasy world, the proportions of architecture don't quite match our expectations for reality, which allows for much more cartoonishly exaggerated, dynamically interesting level design. I mean, there was just so much good level design that married concepts from platform games, from Zelda games, from such and such, just all of that stuff in Gears of War. And I think if you play the second Gears of War game and look at it as kind of like an arcade Zelda experience, stuff starts to kind of open up. Also, good level design. Zelda Link Between Worlds for Nintendo 3DS has a good idea of what we think of when we think about like AAA level design, the way stuff is structured to have X number of exciting moments per X number of minutes, right? If you would like to become a level designer, you'd like to study level design formally, play the first level of Zelda Link Between Worlds, and almost every concept is just kind of right there in a popcorn-sized little perfect implementation. Wonderful video game. Thank you.
I got a couple answers for this one. Both of them are stealth studios, because I feel like the stealth genre is one that has a lot of creative level design, because you have to really focus in on how to make an engaging stealth level, right? In terms of here are things to hide in, here like the pathing has to be a bit more deliberate with the NPCs. And so
Are you gonna
the
say
first
Dishonored?
I was gonna say Arcane.
Yeah.
I think Arcane has some masterful level design between Dishonored, Prey, Deathloop, but I think Dishonored is probably the most standout in terms of level design specifically. Dishonored 2 having the Clockwork Mansion and the level Crack in the Slab, where that involves time traveling back and forth to be in two different states of the world and affecting things in each state. I think that is some of the most like creative you can get in level design, and they really lean into how to make each level feel like its own moment, and how to make each level feel like a set piece to some extent. And so I find that studio to be very, very good when it comes to level design. And then also IO Interactive. The modern Hitman games.
Hitman's the best.
How much depth and how much detail they put into both the visuals, but then also just the layouts of the different levels, and how many different NPCs are able to fit in the levels and the routines of the NPCs. That way, so
Hitman is an interesting. The level design in Hitman is a perfect, sublime, like an alchemical combination of what we in the old school called level design and what we later would call encounter design. Right?
Yeah.
And just kind of like perfectly chemically bonding them. That every Hitman mission is just this perfect thing. So these days they don't really differentiate so much between a level designer and a game designer. I mean, okay, they do, but we laymen don't so much. We just talk about designers. I'm calling myself a layman for some reason. I feel like every mission of Hitman is just a game design.
Yeah.
There's enough bounty in each one for just a whole game.
And that's the thing, it's so good that they added a new update to Hitman 3 recently that turns it into a
world of
roguelite.
assassination. Yeah,
and you go to that mode and they're basically picking random NPCs and are making them the targets.
Rules so hard.
The routines are so good with the NPC behavior that you can really just pick out anybody and be like, they're a target, and it becomes its own new type of challenge to figure out how to follow that person and figure out the perfect time to strike. And I think when you can do that in your video game, when you can pick any random NPC and then just put them into this Rolodex of, all right, cool, now you got to kill them and not get caught. I think that's a telltale sign of, okay, you've done a great job actually making this an engaging level with engaging AI all throughout.
Brandon, before we move on, I want to hear what you had to say.
I'm always going to bat for Yasuhara, level designer of Sonic 1 through 3 /
I was
Knuckles.
thinking about him too.
Yeah.
Come on, someone who can go from that to Uncharted.
Yeah. So he did that. He did Uncharted. He did Sonic R and Jack X Racing. And those are all really interesting maps, at least. Like, they're not all perfect, but they hold your interest, and they got stuff that keeps you moving forward in interesting ways. And also, just having spoken with him many, many times, whenever I hear him describe, he has like an ethos for it and a way of thinking about everything, which is unusual and interesting. So I like that. And then another.
Well, I want to add a little bit to Yasuhara too, because I've been working with some of his raw level maps from Sonic 2 on paper, and including some, not quite finished versions of Sonic 2 maps, specifically Metropolis. And I'm pretty sure that those just came from his head and were put on paper and weren't tested at that point. And he pretty much nails them on paper, which I think is kind of incredible.
Yeah, he's got all the encounter design in his head too.
Yeah.
Gimmicks and traps and encounters are all just in there.
And I think he did that for Uncharted as well, right? Like, that was paper design.
Yeah.
The Uncharted levels. Yeah, I don't know. There's something incredible about that to me.
Yeah, it's neat. And then the other one I wanted to mention is Ghostwire Tokyo, because for me, that does an interesting mesh of, realistic, traversable places and fantasy, which is something what I like to see in a video game. Whenever you go like into essentially a dungeon, which is probably someone's apartment or whatever. Japanese apartments are very small, but they'll have you like go into a closet, and then that closet is this otherworldly space that is swirling around all these common objects that would be in the apartment, but also fantastical things. And it's like you go through this thing that looks like a jumble, but is actually it's pretty much linear. It's all very real. Really, it's straightforward, but it can fool you when you're looking at it into thinking that many things are possible and that, like, how could this space exist? But really, it's straightforward. It's just like the combination of the visual effects and the level design are such that they can fool you into feeling like you're in a very different space. And to me, that's a big success, is when I can understand that something is relatively simple, but still be fooled into thinking that it's bigger and like a much wider world than it actually is. I love that stuff.
All right. Here's my next question. How can a difficult video game puzzle keep players from losing their patience and the resolve to solve it?
My immediate answer to this is my answer for good adventure game design, which is always have something else to do. So a good adventure game sort of has like branching paths in terms of puzzles you can solve. I think a bad adventure game is a very linear, one at a time puzzle solving thing. So, there's a locked door here. I literally can't do anything else except figure out how to unlock this door. To me, that's bad. But it's like, okay, I want to unlock this door. I can't figure it out. I'm going to put that in the back of my head while I go try to work out this other puzzle that I need to solve. I don't know, get across the bridge or whatever. I think there's really something to that because it stops you from ever being frustrated because there's always something else to do. And it also kind of moves that puzzle to a different part of your brain. Like you're putting different cycles on it and the solution might just kind of come to you. It's kind of like sleeping on it. So that's my answer. That's
Interesting.
I think that you should put some text on it that says like, there's like a divot here. It looks like it could fit a gem. And then you're like, well, I guess I should find a gem.
Well, that's some Silent Hill stuff now. That's
Resident Evil.
The anti-puzzles of Silent Hill or Resident Evil, yeah.
You just get the thing that would make no
that
sense.
It tells you to get, yeah.
Remember where the thing you just got might be able to go.
Might be supposed to
right.
go, yeah.
Remember the gem-shaped thing that says this is shaped like a gem for when you find a gem.
I was making a joke about it, but I do actually like when puzzles are kind of silly and don't make real world sense because there's not gonna be a puzzle for me to open a door in real life. It's like, do I have a hacksaw or a crowbar? Then that's the solution. It makes it like in a video game, it makes more sense for me to be like, okay, I got to rotate this unicorn statue to open this.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really think of those as puzzles so much as just kind of lock and key busy work.
Yeah, they're just little busy works. It's true.
So as for puzzles, well, first of all, basically every Hitman level is a puzzle that you can solve like 45 million different ways, which is the thing. And number two, something that nobody actually does, but someday they will. I know this is coming, and it's coming within the next 5 years. Mark my words. There are AAA game designers working on this right now. If we're talking about like a single player action prestige video game, we already have buddy characters in most of these games, right? And we already have buddy characters who yell hints at you whether you want them to or not, right? You see where this is going?
Mm-hmm.
We will soon witness the dawn of the buddy character who says, I think I know what to do. You want me to do it? And then they do it for you. We will witness the dawn of that era.
God.
Wait, isn't that literally a Nintendo patent?
Is it?
Yeah, like during the Wii era, they had a
That's
patent
like,
for. I mean, not. It wasn't actually like an in-game character. It was a patent for like letting the game just tell you how to do it.
I know they had the Super Mario mode for like telling you how to solve a puzzle.
Yeah, and I think even doing it for you.
Well, I mean, they have a mode in the Mario Wii U where if you die enough times, there's a thing you can punch, and then the character just does it for you.
That's Luigi mode.
Okay, I guess that's different than someone explaining to you what to do.
And also, what with the rise of Twitch.tv as a national pastime and all, and I'm going to keep banging this drum. We're going to see the dawn of the era of the video game that'll just play itself for you, where you make a couple decisions. You want me to take point on this mission? Should we go in the front or the back? Should we go up the stairs or the elevator? Should we climb the drain pipe or the fire escape, right?
The gamification of Where We Droppin' Boys.
Yeah, it's basically a Where We Droppin' Boys personality test at the beginning of every encounter, and maybe there's like a 1 in 10 chance of losing. I want that. I honestly want that in my AAA games. I think it's neat. I don't mind playing a game, but I think that would be the ultimate accessibility feature for people who just really possess they just don't
Digital
really
pictures time is finally going to come. Like
yeah, it's coming.
The video games are coming back. It's happening.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Like, I've always talked about Until Dawn on here. You know, I like Until Dawn. You like Supermassive Games? Play any of those games? The Quarry? Anybody play The Quarry? That game doesn't exactly play itself, but I mean, we're getting somewhere. And then, while I'm here, I might as well say there should be the dawn of the era of the post-release. The sequel to this game just came out. Here's a patch that lets you play the whole game in 2 hours. A greatest hits mode, right?
Ooh, I like that.
Isn't that an idea?
That's cool.
Okay, great example. Jedi Survivor just came out. That Jedi Fallen Order game it's too long, right? Good game, too long. What if they just released like a 4-hour greatest hits mode where you get the whole story and you get to fight a couple of encounters? Maybe difficult for that game, now that I think about it. It being a challenge nonetheless. Video game developers, AAA developers, get on it.
Yeah, I think you could do it.
Buddy Solves the Puzzle mode, Where We Drop in Boys mode, and what was the third one? Greatest hits mode.
Greatest hits mode.
I'm surprised that there isn't more Buddy Solves the problem stuff.
Really should be. Yeah.
It's happening soon.
I think I had that in the latest Horizon DLC, where there's like a thing they introduced where you can like create these climbing points in mountains by like aiming I forget what it's called. It's like a trebuchet type thing. But like you shoot it at the side of the mountain, and then like your AI partner will then climb it, and like you just solve the thing. But then like that, I did it the first time. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then the second one, she was like, hey, I got it. I'll do it for you. And I was like, oh, interesting.
Oh man, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
so it's like the Last of Us remake has The Last of Us Part 1 has like skip puzzle, right?
Oh really?
So it has a skip puzzle mode, which is weird because a lot of very atmospheric and like dialogues happen while you're scrounging around for ladders and stuff. And if you skip that, you're skipping like really, really core story content, IMO. So I feel like that's a prime candidate for Buddy Solves It for me. The I get it button is what
you've been talking about that for years.
So the reason that I want this button is because I am one of those fools that continues to play the Call of Duty single player campaigns.
Oh, those games, I play all those too. Those are good.
I basically like them as much as one can like that sort of hawkish type of video game. But what I don't like is when they're like, okay, you got to go do this thing, like go and approach, but don't make too much noise. And it's like, okay, what does that mean? And it turns out there's one path they want me to go down, and any other way that I go, I will get insta-killed by stuff I can't see. And it's like,
Invisa snipers.
If there's only one thing I can do, don't pretend I can do anything else. Just tell me exactly what to do. And it's a really weird thing where like they're afraid of the help me out button because of all those like videos of
psycho hater freak weirdos who will
videos of like their easy mode or where it's like
people who don't want people to have a good time.
I don't even have to do anything. All these guys can shoot the stuff, and so they're like, oh well, I guess people don't like that, so I'm gonna put them in this field, and if they approach from any way but the right path, then they get killed. Like, I don't know, that's not the solution.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want them to embrace it, but just have difficulty sliders where your buddies don't help you at all. They all get killed. I don't know. Or they tell you exactly what is the one path you can go down, and then you can go down it without having to try to figure it out with trial and error.
All right, we're over time.
I believe it.
We have a significant number of video game developers who listen to our show, so I thought this might be a good opportunity to give them a chance to feature us in their games. Let's all record some all-purpose sample dialogue that they might be able to use to put us in as characters.
Would you like me to solve this puzzle for you?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, stop it!
You want me on point for this? Should we go in the front or the back? Should we go up the stairs or use the elevator?
They went that way!
Should we climb the drain pipe or the fire escape?
Should we murder this child or help them?
Shall we kick in the door or use a shotgun? There you go.
I will pet the dog.
Whither shall we drop, lads?
I was going to try to build up to it being something really sinister, but then I stopped. There was going to be a really, really sinister punchline to
I
that.
could just do things from audio atrocities. I like girls, but now it's about justice.
Oh, yeah, I know those jokes.
Now bear my Arctic Blast.
Yeah.
Now Bear My Arctic
Arctic
Blast is a real classic one. Not enough video games with Arctic Blasts in them these days, right?
It's true.
Yeah, this is our opportunity to increase the number of game with Arctic Blasts.
It's hard to bear the number, the low number of them.
How about just like jump? Like when you're jumping, just jump.
Jump!
And you say
I'm
that
jumping.
every single time you jump.
Now, when you jump, your character should go like that. Is what he should do.
My character would go boing, boing.
I got two different takes for a game over screen.
Yeah, let's do it.
The first one, game over. All right, and then the
Okay.
second one, damn, bro, you just died.
Mm.
Yeah.
Damn, bro, get good.
No,
Get good,
I
bro.
think mine is always like too bad. Like that.
You'll get him next time, champ.
You poor player.
Dude, you fucking suck. Turn off the damn game, bro.
Ready? Go.
Would you like to try again?
Yeah, it should all be like Vincent Price.
Yes.
Ready? Go!
Let's go.
Dude, this is your 8th time dying in a row. Are you sure you want to keep playing this?
Man, I love Vincent Price. You could put that in a video game.
Yeah, just put Vincent Price in a video game.
Vincent Price is a real redemption arc of a Wikipedia read. I don't know if you've ever gone through it.
No.
Well, it starts off with him being like, you know that Hitler guy's got some pretty good ideas. That's
Oh,
where,
no.
Oh,
like that.
Okay.
But it was before his rise to power, and then he just like completely flips to where he's like investigated by the House Un-American Activities thing, and he's like a commie, and he's like championing civil rights and women's liberation and like LGBTQ folks and all this stuff. Like he just completely went the other way. It's a good example of like he was 20 and someone was radicalizing him in a bad direction, but then he met someone else, I can't remember who it was, who radicalized him in a good direction. Let me look at it.
He went from the bad kind of un-American to the good kind of un-American.
Exactly. My kind of un-American.
You're my kind of un-American. That's my sample dialogue there.
Not bad.
I'll pay you half its value.
Yeah, keep going while I find this.
Yeah. Welcome to Capital City.
Oh, what is the guy saying? Bloody wolf when you heal him. Oh, the pain is gone.
Okay, so he met Dorothy Parker and Lillian Hellman in the 30s.
Mm-hmm.
And he became so left-wing that he was graylisted under McCarthyism in the 50s for having been a pre-war, premature anti-Nazi. And he couldn't find work for a year and had to sign a secret oath with the FBI to save his career.
What is graylisting?
Not exactly blacklisted.
Not exactly. It's like soft. It's like why my last tweet on Twitter got one like.
Oh, you got graylisted.
Exactly.
Are you sure you're just not doing good enough tweets?
It's a battle zone out there.
It sure is. We'll be right back after a quick break. This message is endorsed by the Insert Credit podcast and not the individual panelists. This is the Insert Credit Quick Break. I'm Alex Jaffe, and this week's episode is sponsored by 100 Gold. 100 Gold is a new experimental video game video magazine produced by Alex Fasciani, co-host and co-founder of the Super Beard Bros Let's Play channel and the Chilluminati podcast, all about the weird and the unexplainable in video games. Come check it out at 100gold.press. That's the number 100gold.press. This is the first time anyone's hearing about it, by the way. Alex has chosen to roll out the launch of his magazine right here on Insert Credit. That's 100 Gold, a video game video magazine. Come on over and see 100gold.press. Go there. If you'd like to advertise on Insert Credit, doing so is both easy and affordable. Just email us at show@insertcredit.com and find out if partnering with our show is right for you. Welcome back to Insert Credit. It's time for us to go to the dirt bag. This is the point in every single episode where we take a question submitted to us by one of our patrons at patreon.com/insertcredit, where you listening right now can give us just a few dollars a month to get access to that form, monthly bonus episodes, and irregular episodes ad-free. This week's question comes from Lloyd Irving, who asked us which of the Capcom 5 games has aged the worst or best. I'm going to modify that and ask us to rank them all from best to worst.
Did all 5 come out?
No, but we're going to rank them all anyway. The 5 games are Piano 3, Beautiful Joe, Dead Phoenix, which never came out, Resident Evil 4, and Killer 7.
So we're ranking these?
Resident Evil 4 is the first.
Well, I don't know. You know what? So I've been in sort of the video game preservation community / scene for, I don't know, 25 years, something like
That's
that.
true.
And what I've learned is that if something didn't come out, it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
So that I think that means whatever Dead Phoenix is. I barely
That's
remember.
got to be number 1.
Probably number 1.
Yeah, the game they didn't want you to play.
What about the versions of Resident Evil 4 that didn't come out, though?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, those are better.
Yeah,
those were
better.
purer.
I think those are better because Resident Evil 4 is a game that people like. And so if the version that didn't come out, I mean, that must be the best because that was the original vision.
Right. It's like the original version of a game that's already good.
It is very funny to me when people find like an earlier version of something and they're like, so the original real version was this, and the one that came out is something else. It's like, as a game developer, I can tell you, no, that was a bad idea, and so then it's not in anymore because
things change for reasons.
Yeah.
You know, I've experienced this myself going into like source code and stuff like that. Sometimes things are cut because, they ran out of disk space or something. And it's like, there's an argument for maybe restoring that later. Sure. But for the most part, stuff changes because making stuff is iterative. You know, it's not like you contract it to spec, right? Like, it's all in the game design document and whatever's in there, that's what's in the game. Anyway, Resident Evil 4, for real.
I do want to say for those listeners who weren't around at the time, the Capcom 5 were 5 Capcom games released in the early 2000s exclusively for the GameCube to help bolster like sales for GameCube games. So Capcom committed to putting out 5 titles. 4 of them came out, and some of them are remembered fondly. Others less fun.
It was a big deal because 4 of them were brand new IPs, right? And one of them was a massively drastic re-envisioning of an existing IP, which had just about had its wheels fallen off at that point. No offense to it.
Yeah, Capcom was wild in those days. And back when they were like, we're going to just support the Dreamcast. And then the Dreamcast tanked and they're like, oh, well, dang. But they actually tried to do that, which is pretty wild stuff. So I think Resident Evil's got to be the top, not only because of the game that it is, but also because this is probably the one that did do the thing that they stated it would do, which is bolster sales of the GameCube, right?
I personally, if I wanted to get weird with it, I mean, I wouldn't compete with Resident Evil 4, but Piano 3 would be my number 2 because it's basically a proto God Hand with a gun, and how can you dislike that?
I don't know if I'll ever be able to figure out how to play it though. I think what's
weird as heck,
what confuses me is that like she's moving on a beat, kind of, but it's not the beat that the music is playing, and it also isn't a beat that is relevant to the shooting that you're doing. So like, I can't look at it and understand it, and that's my big challenge there. I think my number 2 would be Killer 7, but that's
also my number 2.
That's obvious. It's got them graphics.
I would put Piano 3 at number 2, Beautiful Joe at number 3, and Killer 7 at number 4.
Wow.
Well, for those of us who haven't worked at that studio.
I mean, Killer 7's all right. I don't know.
I'd put Piano 3 at 3.
I like the Silver Case and Flower, Sun, and Rain more than I like Killer 7.
FSR.
Not even making that up. I promise.
Well, that's not a purer vision because they're older. Because the prototype Killer 7. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd put Piano 3 at 3, Beautiful Joe at 4 for myself because it just never jived with me. And Dead Phoenix doesn't exist, so it's number 5.
Yeah, I have the exact same list as Brandon.
And you'd put Killer 7 at number 7, I'm sure.
7 as well as number 2, yeah.
Yeah.
K7, yeah.
Okay, I think we've...
so that's the list Brandon and I have. Does anyone want to try to...
Blessing, do you have your own take on this Capcom?
Sadly, no. I missed out on the GameCube generation, and so like I can only say that Resident Evil 4. I've only played through Resident Evil 4 out of
So
these.
you agree that it's number 1 then?
Blessing's a young person. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I agree. It's number 1. I do love Suda51's work, and I believe Killer 7 is Suda, so I'll put that at number 2, I guess.
It's true.
You just expressed the opinion of the typical Killer 7 fan, so that's
Never played it, but I think
Never
he's
played
cool.
it, but I'm a big fan of it.
Oh yeah. Remember when Shenmue 3 launched the Kickstarter, and it was like, ooh, now there were people like in all sincerity tweeting, "Oh, I'm so excited to finally play Shenmue 1 and 2 to get ready for Shenmue 3." It's like, ooh, yeah, that's.
I did not tweet, but did say, ironically / unironically, because I knew it was true, to myself, can't wait to buy Shenmue 3 and never play it. Which has remained true to this day. Shenmue is a series I love to think about, do not want to play.
It's like that hard drive article, big Earthbound fan excited to play Earthbound for the first time.
Oh yeah. That's. I mean, there are things that you can like without. You can decide you're a fan of a thing before you engage with it. Whatever. It's not weird. It's not weird. There are many entry points for a thing. You can decide you're a Gundam fan because you just think the Gundam looks cool. You know, like no joke. A lot of 3-year-old Japanese boys do that.
My mom was at Epcot Center, and she sent me a photo, and she's like, "Who are these little guys?" And she had like a Gundam and a Chibi Gundam next to each other that she had taken a photo of.
There you have it.
she was like, "They're so cute." So no, I guess my mom likes Gundam.
Your mom doesn't know Gundam?
No.
Yeah, why doesn't your mom know about Gundam?
It's a good question.
You gotta educate your
So
mom.
my real Capcom 5 is I've never. Who cares? I was gonna make a stupid joke. I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care. I was gonna say God Hand Gyakuten Saiban, and then I realized I accidentally was going to call it Gyakuten Saiban instead of Phoenix Wright. That's one thing. I don't know if anybody else here has a problem like that, but it's like I just can't call it Phoenix Wright because
it
I
feels Phoenix
played
wrong.
it as Gyakuten Saiban, and I liked it so much. And by the time Phoenix Wright came out, which was an unbearable number of years later, people should have been playing that game right away, right? Like it took them too long to decide to go ahead and translate these.
Well,
things.
like 3 of them were out already, right?
Yeah. They translated the first 3 all at the same time.
Though I think the DS was probably the good vehicle for getting it to be okay in America. Yeah.
There was a lot more experimental stuff was being more widely accepted. But I played all 3 of those squinting at a goddarn Game Boy Advance on a floor, sitting on a floor, the paper curtain on the just a big old paper curtain on the window because I couldn't afford curtains.
I have a scenario for you.
Let's hear it.
Koei Tecmo wants you to scout the right IP for their next Musou game. Who do you approach?
Okay. What's a good Musou?
What is a Musou?
The Dynasty Warriors games.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And they do a lot of licensed tie-ins, which is how they recycle the formula.
Yeah, there's like Hyrule Warriors.
In a
etc.
nice way, they're basically like the Japanese Funko Pop, I would say.
They really are.
Okay.
There is a Japanese figure brand that sells what look to be superior Funko Pops. We need not name them here.
Okay.
I'm saying that in the spiritual sense, they embody premium Japanese engineered Funko Pops, which is they can just take a character. And you know what? I made fun of those games for a while, and they made a Dragon Quest 1, and then I figured it out. Everybody, they can be pretty fun if you know what you're doing.
The Berserk one was okay too.
Yeah, well, not as good as Sammy's Berserk.
No, no, very different types
Which
of
is
games.
a good one.
Okay, good ones. How about Smash Brothers Musou?
Smash Bros. Dynasty Bros.
Yeah,
Super Dynasty Brothers.
Dynasty Bros.
Super Smash Dynasty.
That would make some money, probably.
Yeah, I think that would be good because you can just keep adding characters to it really easily.
I feel like they would make that, and then somebody, some big wig would be surprised that the low sales. Be like, what? Why didn't this sell so well? And it's like, oh, because Smash Bros. Is Smash Bros., not.
Yeah, you need more focus.
Yeah.
Okay, Nintendo Land. I don't know. I feel like it could be their Fortnite.
Oh, yeah.
Keep
They-
adding characters.
a battle pass.
Nintendo's really should get their head on about that sort of thing, about just getting all their stuff in there, make a big old playground game.
You know how when Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, everybody loved that game for the most part. People had issues, but for the most part, it was a pretty fantastic title. And then the next title was Metal Gear Survive, and that shifted the genre. And people were like, "What is this?" And that game sucked. I'm going to go somewhere you're not expecting. A lot of people have been asking for a follow-up or remake or remaster to Bloodborne. And so what I propose is we give them what they want, but in a way that they don't want it. And we give them Bloodborne Warriors.
Yeah.
Give them a Bloodborne Musou game. A game that totally disregards everything we love about Bloodborne. I want it to be campy. I want it to be fast-paced. I want it to be all about the action.
Combo counters.
I want to be comboing and juggling werewolves.
666 dead werewolves per second.
Yeah, I never thought about it, but the Musou really is the opposite of the Souls-like.
Oh, you haven't thought about it, but people who've played Neo have, because it's released by Koei Tecmo. And you're like, this is the opposite of the other games they make.
You know what's funny? As I was thinking of an answer to this question, Wo Long Fallen Dynasty came to mind. And I was like,
my God, yeah.
That actually fits too well. Like, if you could just make that game a Dynasty Warriors game, it would make sense.
That game is good. Okay, it's not like a masterpiece or anything, but they're pushing the envelope a little further. I mean, they're getting back toward Ninja Gaiden, right? They're clearly going to make a Ninja Gaiden Souls-like, right?
I think so.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
They're going to do it, and it's going to be incredible probably, because those Neo games, they're using them as like a playground to test out a couple different ideas. Wo Long, a couple more different ideas. They're going to bring it all together into one complete package. But anyway, I believe the question concerns Musou games starring wacky characters. Marvel's The Avengers Musou. Why don't they have that?
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that what people want?
I think probably it is.
Pick your real boring Marvel superhero and...
Wait, do people want the Avengers?
Probably. I mean, I do
Maybe
kind of
5
think
years
that the
ago.
superhero thing is on the slight decline, but
The Dynasty Warriors is quite a hotbed of maybe 5 years ago stuff.
It sure is.
Like it makes sense.
I bet a Kingdom Hearts Musou would do really well.
The KHM, yeah, I think we could. I think we could.
I think
chill
you
with
could
that.
just do a Final Fantasy one.
Final
in
Fantasy
general.
one is what I was going to say. Yeah, because you got Team Ninja did your Stranger of Paradise, which also they're trying. They used as a playground to try out some new stuff regarding a Souls and a Musou. It was already halfway to a Musou. Team Ninja made that Dissidia NT, which was another Final Fantasy quote-unquote fighting game that had gotten so far from even the original Dissidia game's mission statement of being a Final Fantasy fighting game. I think a one-on-one Final Fantasy fighting game would be cool.
Could we call a Stranger of Paradise a Musouls?
Oh, it's a bit of a Musouls, yeah. It's toward that, yeah.
Musouls is just a regular action game.
Yeah, that's just like a Ninja Gaiden 2 for the Xbox.
Give me a Mortal Kombat Warriors game.
Mortal Kombat Warriors,
Yeah.
Scorpion.
Just bloody
A
as
third-person
heck.
action game where I play as Scorpion and I'm just taking out...
You rip out 20 spines at once.
Getting everyone over here.
You just press triangle for a fatality, and it's like, but you build up a fatality meter, and then you press a button to do it, and the fatalities are like 1 second, but really gross.
Man, I gotta say, like, if you could shoot out like 50 tethers and bring 50 guys in and then uppercut them all and all their spines shoot out, I think you got something.
Sub-Zero pulls the spines out, okay? Scorpion is the get over here guy with the spear.
I do like the opposite of doing the exact opposite, and it's you as Scorpion taking down 50 people at a time, and then you pull out your fatality meter, and it is just 30 seconds of you ripping apart one enemy. And like it's the opposite of what you want, but it just looks cool, and so you do it anyway. You're just wasting time on one guy when you have thousands ahead of you.
You're really trying to harass our audience here, Blessing.
No, this is good. I like this.
It would also incredibly sell like nothing.
Yeah.
Because that's not what the target audience wants at all, but it's something that like some executive, the decision would get made by AI or whatever, and then they'd be like, well, I guess we should do this. And then it just kind of flops out there. I had the bizarre out-of-body experience of playing. Do you guys know of this Warriors All-Stars game?
I don't.
Yes.
Okay, so there's a game called Musou Orochi, for the
Yeah, I know about the
PlayStation 2.
Orochi.
Musou Orochi is two worlds combined, where on the PlayStation 2 they had Dynasty Warriors, Sangoku Musou, and then they couldn't resist the pun of Sengoku Musou, so it's Three Kingdom Warriors, and then it's Warring States Warriors, right? So you have your 2nd century China, and you have your 16th century Japan. The two franchises with real life heroes in incredibly anachronistic armor and uniforms fighting basically Final Fantasy hordes. There was this Musou Orochi, which was like your favorite Three Kingdoms historical figures and your favorite Warring States historical figures are together because of a time demon or whatever. And then they made a game called Warriors All-Stars, which was like your favorite warriors are together and also the guy from Neo is here. And it's like that was like basically it, right? Which is like they had to make a new franchise to account for the guy from Neo being there. Very incredible. That's what Musou, that's the level Musou is on. And none of us in our wildest prognostications and improvisations can approximate 1/10 of the level those absolute monsters are on.
We cannot get on their level.
It's just not possible.
As a future iteration of this question, I want to investigate later which games should become Earth Defense Force likes.
Ooh, I like that. All right, I'm going to earmark that. And maybe, Brandon, if you win this episode, you could make that the first question.
I don't think I'm going to win,
next
but we'll
week.
see.
Let's find out. In the lightning round, here we go. We're recording this on May the 4th.
Oh, yeah, Star Wars Day. Star Wars Musou was one I thought of saying, so.
I'm bringing back an old segment called The Wrecking Crew, where we imagine a fictional character and try to recommend a video game that they would enjoy.
Okay.
This week we're doing all Star Wars characters. Please,
right.
no Star Wars games. They get enough of that in their regular lives.
Okay.
Is everyone clear on the premise here?
You might have to explain who some of the characters are to me.
Oh, no, that'll be easy. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. They're all easy.
Star Wars characters have almost no nuance, so
Yes.
it's easy.
Right.
It's part of the fun. Here is your first guy, Han Solo.
Oh, I know that guy.
Han Solo.
He would like Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh, stop it.
You know, I was actually going to go like Beyond Two Souls or something like that, like a David Cage game.
Oh yeah, something
Wait, what?
really.
Wow. Wait, what?
What is y'all's impression of Han Solo?
Yeah.
He's hotter than me, so he sucks.
That ought to do it. That ought to do it.
See, I was gonna go Uncharted. I feel like he would relate a lot to the vibes.
I think Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis.
He's like, oh, that guy looks like me.
Oh, that is a horrible thing to do to this guy. Oh, wait, because wow. Yeah, because he's Indiana.
In another universe, I could be this guy.
Now, I like Blessings the best for circling the answer, not being exactly on it. Our next guy is C-3PO.
Chewie, we're home.
He wants to play
That's a game for C-3POs.
something with an AI.
See, I'm going Detroit Become Human. Give him a glimpse of what things could be like.
To be a real boy.
Yeah.
At least I just want to see the idea to him.
You want to introduce it.
Well,
Yeah,
he
just be
doesn't,
like,
he,
hey.
doesn't have, he doesn't have data complex. He's not trying to be a real boy.
You just want to see what happens when he realizes that there's robots out there that wish they had meat and bones or whatever.
I'm just trying to envision a Star Wars universe where they do an MLK march, but it's like all droids.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I'd at least give him a Nier Automata if we're going for that angle.
Oh, that's actually a great one.
No, I don't think you want to give him anything stressful. I think you want to give him like Tetris or something, just something to
Let him
relax.
do some
with.
math.
Tetris Effect.
Something
Yeah.
that could bolster his self-esteem.
Yeah,
Because he's
exactly.
got some self-esteem issues, and I think he'd be really good at Tetris Effect.
That's
Yeah.
a good answer. Boba Fett.
Oh, Boba Fett.
I don't know anything about this.
He's got
character.
jetpack, dude.
He's got a
He's got a
jetpack.
jetpack. He's got a helmet. He's got a rocket launcher.
Super Mario Sunshine. Maybe like that guy's just like me.
And in the newer Star Wars series, he's sort of canonically friends with the Sand People, who have Maori-like culture, which is very
I watched that
interestingly
whole show.
portrayed.
I don't remember any of it. It's
Oh,
just
yeah?
gone.
Oh.
It's just gone. Wow.
I didn't really like it, but I remember all of it, so that's my problem.
I'm going to say Desert Golf because he can really empathize with being stuck in a sand pit.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. All right.
I mean, all
Fair
right.
enough.
You want to answer your own questions, big
It
boy?
just occurred to me. I thought it was a good answer, okay?
I
Let me
think it's a
play
good
a little bit. Sometimes I want to play, Tim, okay?
I think Boba Fett would enjoy playing Hitman because he would it would teach him how there's people out there who do like his basic job with really good writing and situation
Oh,
design. Whereas
I do
we never
like
we
that.
never really get to see Boba Fett do anything that lives up to his clever reputation. So
Jaffe, you would know. Is it Powers? Was that the superhero comic where the first issue was like a Superman tie-in who dreams of flying?
Astro City.
Astro City, yeah. So I'm kind of in that vein. Like maybe he actually wants to like be free with his jetpacking as opposed to having to work.
Dark Void. He
So
wants to play Dark
maybe
Void.
like a Nights into Dreams or Dark Void. Yeah.
And nights. That'd be fun.
Chewbacca.
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 Chewie, we're
Chewie.
home.
Punch it, Chewie.
Hey, he'd like to play Dog's Life.
Punch it, Chewie.
Yeah, A Dog's Life.
A Dog's
Can we
Life on
just
PS2.
say, for the record here, that Chewie rules, dude?
Yeah, he's great.
Chewie's hilarious.
Tubi would watch Tubi.
Chewie on Tubi. You know, did you know that in 1977, Jaffe can back me up on this, there were people out there who hated Chewbacca. They were out there.
Yeah, there were always Chewbacca haters.
They were like this stupid. There's just this stupid dog who makes this dumb noise, and he's supposed to be this human guy's friend. That's so stupid. There were people really upset at that. He was like a Jar Jar, and then those people clearly had never seen Jar Jar Binks, right?
Yeah.
Because
Right. They were checked out already.
they're like, "Oh, you don't like that?" And then George Lucas wrote that down. Oh, people wanted Chewbacca to speak human words, right? And then he just kind of thought, what kind of human words would Chewbacca say if he were a fish? And and that's how we all ended up
That's how I ended up with Jar Jar.
having
Sure.
a lot of mental health crises in the early 2000s.
This is all on his Wikipedia entry. Princess Leia.
Oh, hey, I wanna
Wait,
answer
we
the
need to
question.
recommend a
Hang
game
on.
for Chewie.
Yeah.
Bloodborne, dude. Because there's all those big old hairy things in there.
Yeah, but you killed
Big
them.
old hairy monsters, and you're just slaughtering them.
Yeah, I don't think he would like that, though, after all the slaughtering that the Empire did to his people.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. So, like, Chewie is a character that people like to tell when they're home.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I'm thinking the
Gone home.
Gone home. There it is. Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah. Yeah.
Chewie,
I'm
you've
letting-
gone home.
I'm letting you split the point on that one. Princess
What I
Leia.
was gonna say, and Tim's was better, is Rabbids Go Home, which is the fourth Rabbids game on Wii. But yeah, Gone Home.
Rabbits go home. Yeah, why
With
not?
Princess Leia, I'm gonna go with 12 minutes. I don't know if you guys know the twist in 12 minutes, but
No, I don't, and I have it on my list that I want to play it just to
Okay.
make fun of it. Is it
All
something
right.
I could make fun of?
Oh,
And
yeah.
It sounds like it's pretty short too, right?
I think you could be a little disgusted by it, is what you could be.
I definitely said the spoiler, but you didn't hear it, which is cool.
I didn't hear it. Yeah, what the heck? That rules. I
Yeah.
honestly did not hear it.
Okay.
So all I know, the game's 12 minutes long, right? That's
That's
a joke.
right.
Yeah, you can knock it out in about like a sixth of an hour. Maybe a little bit
Unfortunately,
longer.
it's a little longer.
That's 10
Nice.
minutes.
I think she would play Cooking Mama so she could make more cinnamon buns for the side of her head.
Yeah, good joke.
Cinnamon
good
buns. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Joke. That's a real 1980 joke.
Yeah, you know it.
that's a real 1979 joke.
You know, we
I
got
mean,
our Spaceballs all lined
Yeah,
up.
it took 2 years for them to come up with that one, but
Yeah.
then it hit big.
Once they cracked it.
I mean, Princess Leia is a more. I've seen Obi-Wan on Disney Plus.
Sure.
Frank, do you not remember that one either, or did you just not watch it?
I also don't remember that one too much. No, I might remember parts of it. There's little Leia.
I
Remember
feel
that.
like she would just kind of play a normal video game. Maybe she played Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild
Yeah.
because
she'd
it's
like
got a
that.
princess in it.
That makes sense.
I feel like you just hand her a Switch and she's gonna get most of the first party stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she'd play BOTW.
Lando Calrissian.
Lando, we're home.
That's the Cloud City guy.
Yeah,
Living
Yeah.
in the land of the lost.
he's from Bespin.
I'm going Ratchet and Clank. I think he could get some inspiration for like city design and like some of the design of his home from that game. I could see some stuff he'd lift off of like the planets in that game.
Get some ideas for cool dialogue from Clank. That's a
Yeah.
joke.
But wouldn't he just play like a city builder? Whatever's the good city builder right now. But maybe he doesn't want to do that during his off time.
City of Skylines.
I think we're forgetting Lando is a talented pilot and gambler. So
Right.
Yeah.
I think he would play Microsoft Flight Simulator while making sports bets on FanDuel on his phone.
Yeah, that's the ultimate Lando experience.
Right? he'd be making sports bets. Fantasy football is a video game, right?
Mhm. In its way, sure.
That's what he'd be doing.
Do you think he's playing Microsoft Flight Simulator and being like, what is Earth? What is this planet? This planet is fucking weird, dude.
This
What is an
planet
airplane?
Sucks. Lando has Han Solo's voice for some
It's
reason.
it starts with a long time from now in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah,
A long time from now in a galaxy too far away from me.
planes have to have a runway to take off. They don't just pick up.
That's basically the equivalent of us playing a flight simulator that takes place at a planet we've never heard of. But it's the most boring, realistic. Oh, this is a weird flying vehicle, and this. Oh yeah, I guess we're just flying.
That's the kind of
yeah.
games we need.
It's like his version of Jet to Far Shore.
No, but the thing is that for him, all of the flight would be worse. It's much harder to fly a plane than it
It
is to fly a
sucks, yeah.
spaceship that
Yeah,
just
but that's
takes
he
up.
would like that though, because he never shies away from a challenge.
That's true. I was going to say Super Mario World because of the cape, but I like that.
Yeah, yellow cape. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Darth Vader.
Oh, big old DV.
DV. He would play Bioshock, but he would kill the children every time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to harvest
Harvest the
their mana
younglings.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a youngling killer. That goddarn guy. He would play Grand Theft Auto, but he would ignore the missions. dude.
man.
It's like, oh, this game had a
He
story.
would just he would ignore the missions and just have fun, dude. That's what he would
Vader
do.
for you.
Oh, he would play Mass Effect and choose the Renegade
Oh,
option every
yeah.
time.
Yeah, that's cool.
He would just be enthralled with the opportunity to make the fake person on the TV screen just mildly uncomfortable in a way that doesn't change the story at all. You know.
I think he would enjoy Doom.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he would love Doom.
Because he's a talented pilot, so he does high speed 3D movement
Right.
in addition to
Exactly.
satanic cruelty.
I know we're not supposed to put Star Wars games in here, but I think that of all the characters, I think Darth Vader would play a Star Wars game as himself and then get really mad when he lost.
Oh yeah.
And that game would be Episode 1 Pod Racer.
Or it would be Mortal Kombat 11 with the Darth Vader
Right.
DLC, which I don't think
He would crush the controller with the Force when he loses.
Yeah.
I wonder if if I could give him Wolfenstein, one of the modern Wolfensteins, and wait for him to realize that he's one of the bad guys.
Am I the baddie?
Wait, oh man, these Nazis suck. I'm gonna kill all these Nazis, and he gets halfway through and he's like, man, there's a lot of similarities here between what I'm doing and what these guys are doing.
Yeah.
Those guys always have a lot of dissonance. They can outlie themselves from
He
those
would
things.
play
pretty easy.
Wolfenstein, and then he would go back to the Emperor's throne and bring balance to the Force.
Wait, going back to the earlier dumb joke, is there a Conan game where
there's
he
a
could
couple-
play
there's a couple of them.
where he could play as himself, if you know what I mean?
Where you play Thulsa Doom.
Play as Thulsa
There's
Doom.
I don't know if there's no playable Thulsa Dooms out
There
there.
should be.
Guy's got a good haircut.
Yeah.
All right. I think I'm going to call it there. Our winner
Oh, that
this
it?
week is Frank. Congratulations, Frank.
Frank.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Frank.
It's Frank because he didn't remember the plot of Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, that's how you win.
He became mayor of a thing, right? And
Yeah. Oh
tried
no.
to-
I mean, I'm just messing with you, but yeah, it was not the Book of Boba Fett was just Mandalorian season 2.5. That's all it was.
Absolutely.
It wasn't. It was a stealth Mandalorian, a special after school special, basically.
But it was more like Mandalorian.
he had a pet rancor that he rode, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that actually ruled when he rode the Rancor.
We're running out of time, so I would like to do recommendations right away. This is the point of the show where if you're working on anything that you'd like to share, or if you're just enjoying anything you'd like to share, this is the space to do it. Blessing, why don't you go first?
If you're in the audience, I'll definitely recommend going to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and checking out The Blessing Show. That's the show that I get to produce and host for the channel, where it's a shorter video essay-ish type show where I tackle a different topic every episode. The last episode was about black hair in video games and things we can do to have that better represented in video
That
games.
was a good one.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's an episode I'll definitely recommend anybody check out. But then also recently we had an interview with Phil Spencer from Xbox, the head of Xbox, go up, and I highly recommend you guys check that one out too, because it's a very fascinating listen of Phil addressing a lot of what's been happening at Xbox with Redfall and the release of that and the reviews, and also the CMA blocking the acquisition of Activision over in the UK, and that was of course conducted by the XCast crew here at Kind of Funny. So those are the two pieces of content I would say you should check out over here.
I like that Phil Spencer because he likes Lost Odyssey. So and he's spoken about how he likes Lost Odyssey for the Xbox 360. So that's he gets my respect, because it seems like he's actually played that whole game. So guy rules. Thanks.
I got some recommendations.
Okay.
We just, as of today, recording time, put out a Demon School public demo that you can get on Steam. So if you want to see what that game is like, you could go check it out. Even by the time you listen to this, it'll still be up for like another week or something like that. So give that a look. Check it out. See what you think. It is certainly a game where a lot of parts of it are definitely from my brain. And so if people don't like it, it's about all I got. I don't know if I could do any better. So I hope people like it. Another recommendation I got is I just played through Kudelka on the PlayStation 1.
Kudelked.
Love that game.
I Kudelked. I would say that this is a good thing to get on your Mister or emulate, because I got the actual game, but I had to trade like about 50 games for it to get it, because it's really expensive now. Anywho, Kudelka, one of those like CG background 3D characters kind of games, but it's got a funny, weird vibe. It really struck me in the older days where we were having discussions about our video games for kids and stuff, and the argument would be like, no, this isn't for kids, it's for adults. It's got boobs and blood in it and stuff.
Boobs and blood.
But
those are the two.
Yeah, B&B.
Sequel to Ghouls and Ghosts, I believe, right?
With Kudelka, like, it's really easy to point to this and be like, do you think this is for kids? Because the intro is just like operatic singing and occasional sound effects of like birds flying by, focused on an unnamed figure riding a horse through a placid countryside and coming across a castle, and then it says like some town in Wales, October 31st, 1898. And like that's the whole intro, and that's the only text in it. It's like that's what I would point to be like, this isn't for kids. They're not trying to hook in the children with this ponderous intro. The rest of the game isn't exactly like that, but it's neat to look at and think about, because it gave me that thought. Anyway,
it's a neat, weird game.
Pretty fun game. I didn't really discuss what the game is like, but I liked it. Just make sure that you figure out how to level up your...
It's a proto Shadow Hearts game.
Yeah, proto Shadow Hearts.
Also, play the Shadow Hearts games, and also play Sokaigi for the PlayStation 1 as well, if you want to play a couple other weirder, lesser talked about or looked at video games that are all somewhat related to Kudelka.
Yeah.
Okay, does anyone have any very fast recommendations, Tim or Frank?
Nope.
I would say my recommendation is there's a writer's strike happening right now, WGA.
Yes.
Anybody else here WGA?
No.
Blessing, you WGA?
I am not.
Well, if you have the option, I would just recommend that you have a unionized workplace. That's
a very good recommendation. One of the best we've had.
Yeah, I mean, I don't talk about this too much, but there, just to look into it. There's plenty of literature out there.
The cops are coming for you.
Yeah, they're coming.
He said unionized, and all of a sudden, boom,
they're coming. That's actually a fire engine. I know all the sirens. I know what.
That's because of the fire take.
Because your recommendation was fire.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. They're coming to put me out.
I have a less flaming recommendation, but a pretty good one. I'd like to say, if you've enjoyed this episode of Insert Credit, or any episode for that matter, please rate and review our show wherever and however you can. It really helps us. You can also support us on patreon.com/insertcredit, where you could become a patron to submit your own questions, listen monthly bonus episodes, and get regular weekly episodes ad-free. You could join our community at forums.insertcredit.com and send all business inquiries to show@insertcredit.com. Or find a video of this episode on YouTube. This episode is edited by Esper Quinn, with original music by Kurt Feldman. I'm Alex Jaffe.
I'm Frank Cifaldi.
I'm Tim Rogers.
I'm Brandon Sheffield.
I'm Blessing Adeoye Jr.
And Chubby, we're home.
you know Michael Weib, is that how you say his name?
What?
The guy who was trying to fight Billy Mitchell for the Donkey Kong?
Yes.
Oh, Steve Wiebe?
Yeah, Steve Wiebe.
Oh, is it Steve? I'm sorry.
Weeby.
I got his name
Yeah,
wrong.
Steve Wiebe.
God,
Yeah.
imagine having the last name Weeby, Stevie Weeby.
No wonder he got it at Donkey
I've got
Kong.
the heebie-jeebies just thinking about Stevie Weeby.
I think I get more points for going from Michael Weib to Steve Wiebe.
Yeah, that's why you won the episode, Frank.
Well, so anyway, okay, so you know this guy Steve Wiebe.
Yeah.
Did you know that he wrote a Christian pop album?
Why not?
No.
I did know that, yes.
Okay, Frank, do you know what it's called?
No, I don't.
It's called King of Song.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
That's pretty good.
So I had to share that.
If that comes out physically, I think you need to own it.
Me?
Yes.
Oh no.